What's going on, guys? Matt over here with Lethal Camaro, and today I'm going to show you how to remove the driver's side door panel that you may need to do for a million different reasons. Could be to get back there to adjust electrical, could be to replace the door panel like I am, whatever. So this guide is to help you in walking through that process so you don't break things and feel a lot more confident in doing it on your own, so you can save yourself a little bit of money so you don't have to go down to your local dealer and have them do it for you. Let's get on into it. The door panel is held together by a few different things. There are a couple bolts. Here's the new panel that I'll pull out. So there are a couple bolts on the new panel. You will see those. There's a bolt point here, there's a bolt point there, and then we have a bolt point right up here. So once those three bolts are removed, the only thing holding the door in place are these little clips around the outside edge of the door. They're yellow and they're gray, different colors. And there's metal clips that slot into these grooves right here, into these grooves, and there's 6 of them across the top. Those are probably the hardest to take off, but I'm gonna show you a quick and easy way to take them off because they're more meant to be in place to install and hold the door in place than they are holding the door after the fact. So let's go ahead and jump on into it and take this thing apart. First and foremost, when you're ordering the parts for your door, depending on what you're doing, and in this instance, I'm upgrading to the ZL1 interior, so the Alcantara with the red stitched striping, you have to know what parts you need. So the door will come with just the full door panel, but you do have to order the separate arm bolster separately. This comes separate. Make sure you get all the parts and pieces you need. In taking apart the door, you will need a couple tools. In this instance, I have 2 wide finishing tools. I have a small skinny finishing tool, and I have a 7mm bit with my drill just to make things easier. So the first step is let's take out all the bolts. The first 2 bolts are actually, the first bolt's actually really easy to get to. Just right here. I can actually see. You can tell I went a little bit slow. I don't want to strip anything. Now the second bolt is behind the door handle. There's a little plastic clip. Again, I'm using my fine finishing tool here. And you could use a flathead screwdriver as well, but that just pops out a plastic cover. There you go, plastic cover. And that does reveal the bolt, and you can use your drill to pull it right on out. Now the next bolt is behind this cover. Now this cover is held in with 5 clips. There's one here, one in the center, one down here, and one up top. It's usually pretty easy to, you can start pulling on it from the edge. You'll see I'm not going to use my finishing tool up against the metal, the brushed aluminum here, because I don't want to scratch it. But it's pretty easy to pull out. You can get them started just by pulling with your hands. And that center clip is always a bastard. Come on. There we go. So that pulls right on out. Set that to the side and reveals our final bolt, which is right here. There we go. So at this point, we do have the 3 bolts removed. Now we want to start taking off all the plastic clips that are holding the door on from around the outside corner. Now in my instance, I'm going to start from this side. The first clip is about right here. There's another one here, another one here. The nice thing is if you do have a door panel, you can see exactly where they are. And you see I can slide my finishing tool right on back there. There you go, that one came out. Ew. That one's out. That one's out. Okay. Those ones are out. And that one's out. So they may fall out because most of these do slide into like a little plastic slip and then clip in. So when you're pulling them out, they may slide out and get loose. So just as a forewarning. The door is completely detached all the way around except for the top. Now the top has 6 clips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that hold the door in place. They're sitting in metal grooves alongside the door, and then those grooves hold this trim piece in place, which I'm going to go ahead and take off now. This is where the small trim tool comes in. And on the driver's side, they only have 2 clips. On the passenger side, there's 3. There's 2 on the ends and 1 right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those out. So that 3rd clip is right here behind the door. There we go. But once that's out, this whole thing should just pull straight up. And there we go. So you will have to unclip the door hinge, and I'll show you how that was connected in just a second. So I just pulled that off. And then there's 2 clips. There's a gray and a black clip. And I'll show you those in just a second as well. Dear GM, make these plastic clips easier to come off. There we go. So, door panel's off. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this around so you guys can see. But there was a gray and black clip here. Again, they were slide clips, so you pull the slide out, push in and pull out. They are a pain in the neck. I'm telling you that now, so don't get frustrated. So now on the top edge, we do have the rubber piece. Now this rubber piece just slides into the metal clips that we're going to be taking off here in a second. There is a metal band running through this top piece right here, so you don't want to bend it too much. So be careful with that. But this piece slides right on out, lay that to the side, and that exposes the 6 metal clips. Now in this case, I'm going to use my finishing tool sideways just to pull those out. There we go. All the clips are removed. So you don't lose these metal clips. I would highly recommend sliding them back in the door the same way they came off, because you're going to have to do this step anyways. So center them up on the little grooves. You'll see that there's little metal grooves that these clip into, so it's not too difficult to understand where they go. And there's only one way they can go in. Let me show you. So here's a side view of the metal clip. This is the part of the clip that slides back into the door, and this is the main groove right here that rubber piece set in. So that rubber piece will slide right back into that place, but this piece goes back onto the door clips. And I'll show you an up close view of that. So you can see the clips that I started to put in, and then there's that groove that they go in on. So you really can't mess this up. Bam, simple as that. Now, because I didn't physically pry each individual clip off, I will go around now and make sure the extra clips that stayed in the door come off. Okay guys, now we're going to get into the part where we actually have to disconnect things. So we know that we already have to remove the module for the lock and unlock to go into the new door. But since this is the driver's side door, you also have the trunk button. So there's two little clips that hold it in place. It does push forward, it doesn't come backwards. And then there's a plastic clip. Now this is one of those annoying push clips. You'll see, you probably won't see because it's really dark, but on the upper side, looking from the top down of the door, you'll see a little white square hole. Push in there and that will release the little clip on the edge of this and it pulls right out. So yeah, that's that. So you push it out. There you go. Here's your trunk button. Make sure you don't put it in backwards on the new door. And then this side requires a little, like my finishing tool, because there's 4 clips on each side, but if you loosen 2 of the sides, it pulls right out. Okay, so now the removal of this module right here, literally I'm going to use my finishing tool to get in there. You might, I mean, you can almost, you just got to be careful because it likes to slip back in its port. And again, just like all GM clips, actually I'll take this off now. So there's the harness. Now we just, there you go, there's that module. We've removed the door panel. We've unclipped all the wiring harnesses. We unclipped the modules for the trunk and the unlock and lock mechanism. Now, I mean, and we've already put, let's see here, and we've already put the 6 clips back in place from when we took off the finishing edge. So now the only next step that we need to do is put the finishing edge back on and get ready to put the door back in place. So now I'm going to put the rubber piece on, and as I outlined before, yeah, I have that the right way. As I outlined before, there's the, you'll feel like the felt edge that fits on the inside. And again, this edge right here slides into the grooves on these clips. So you want to make sure it's slid all the way over and bumping up against the door. And literally just slide it in position. And at this point, we will put these 3 rubber grommets back in place. Those are all slid in. And again, make sure all these edges are tucked in on the clips, because if not, you're going to get awkward bulge marks and you're not going to want that. Make sure it's all the way slid over. And we're good to go. So our first step on the new door panel is installing those modules that we took off. Again, they slide in the same way they came out and connect the same way we just connected them. Slide in, locked in. Now for, oops, I'm upside down. Now for the trunk, which again we want to make sure is on the right way. That slides in from the front into the back. Make sure that's clipped. And slide in your power clip. That's in there. There is a plastic covering. I believe they use this whole piece of plastic covering to keep this little wire knob from scratching anything in shipping. Okay, now that we have all the pieces on the door, we do have to connect all the wires and the door handle cable. So let's go ahead and do that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect both the gray and black cables. Again, they just slide in. Make sure to push in the lock key for those. There we go. So we'll go ahead and put the plastic cover back on the door frame. Or behind the door handle, I should say. There we go. And the final piece. Where's the new one? Oh, it's over here. And the final piece to seal the deal. There you go. Now the final step is to make sure everything works. Car's in auxiliary mode. Window goes up. That's bueno. The lights turn on. Doors lock and unlock. Uh-oh. And this might have clipped in a little sideways. There you go. Fixed. That's interesting. So you guys have it. Unfortunately, it was hot in my garage and I was sweating like a pig or dog, whatever. But either or, the install wasn't too difficult. Now, I will admit something. When I put the door panel back on for the first time, the new one, I had forgotten to hook up the door and all the wiring connectivity. So I had to pull it all off again and then put it back on. Let's see if you guys were crafty enough to go back and scrub and see where that mistake happened, because I cut in and redid everything. Yeah, because I suck and no one's perfect. Leave me alone. You. I'm talking to you. Either or, if you guys enjoyed this install video or found it helpful in any way, subscribe to the channel, because I have a lot more content just like this coming. Also, if you don't want to subscribe, likes, comments, shares are appreciated. But as always, guys, thanks for checking out the content. If you have any additional questions, post them in the comments below. I do try my hardest to answer every question posted. But until next time, I'll see you on the road.